I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here. Now be sure to watch Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV by subscribing on YouTube and following them on social media for all the latest Leicester City news and information. Come on you foxes!
Strap yourself in,
because we're set up, switched on and ready to go.
Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's live.
Good evening, fellow Fox fans and fellow England fans. Oh, dare I ask how we are? Well, I tell you what, it was nearly coming home, but I think it was... the Euros was run by Amazon because we must have been out and they left it next door. So we didn't get it quite. It's going to be an interesting show, this. That's all I can say. What I want to start with is, not just as a country, not just as a continent, as a world this year, we have been, through the past 18 months, some horrendous shit. Millions have died. Millions have been ill. You know, we've had funerals where we can't hug our families. We've had best friends, family members that have passed away. We can't go and visit people. This was a football match. That's all it was at the end of the day. Yes, it was a bigger than normal football match, but it's the reaction to that. It's embarrassing. It you know, we used to always say, you know, we used to be embarrassed to be British, but I don't know, and it's not just Brits, because it's been proved that this has come from Europe as well, but there's just no need for the reaction. And you know what gets me more than anything is that these people that are aiming the abuse at certain people because of their race, religion, colour, etc. If that guy, or you go to your club on a Saturday and watch a game, and your striker happens to be Asian, and he scores a goal, do you not cheer him because of his skin colour? Of course you do. It's the double standards. But you think it's okay to sit there behind your keyboards and hurl this abuse at people. It's a football match at the end of the day. Do you have the balls to go up in front of millions of people and take a penalty? No, of course you don't. Would you have the balls to go up and say this to people direct to the face? Of course you wouldn't. Leicester Till I Die supports stop online abuse. It's very easy. If you're on Twitter, I'm not sure about Instagram, but if you're on Twitter or Facebook, you can actually put keywords into your account so that when you go onto your account, if somebody's sent you a message or a post or something like that with those keywords in, you will not see it. And if you can't see it, it's just defeating their purpose in life. If you are one of these keyboard warriors, get yourself a life. Because to my mind, you haven't got one. It's a game of football. There's a hell of a lot worse going on about there. Sorry, guys, to go on. I had somebody came on the other day, earlier today, and I had to block him. And I reported his tweet claiming that Southgate had picked Saka to go number 5 to satisfy the BLM supporters. What a load of bollocks. What total bollocks is that? If that's what you think, I mean, we've been searching for years for the missing link. Well, I tell you what, I think they're all out there, because I think that's the sort of people that are making these comments. What a stupid comment to make. Guys, I'm really sorry for going on. Remember, do put those things into your social media if you can. It does block them coming through. Just put them in as keywords, and you won't see those posts come up. But having said that, amidst all of this, a game of football took place.
It's the Euros 2020 with Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV.
Yes, it is. And you can catch us live on YouTube right now. Leicester Till I Die TV. Give us a subscribe. Press my buttons. Get me all excited. We'll leave it at that. Twitter at Leicester TID. Facebook Leicester Till I Die the group. They've been sat patiently in the green room. Let me bring them in now and thank them for their patience. Let's first of all start one of our regulars, Scott. Feeling a little bit better this morning, Scott?
Yes and no. So the simple answer is I'm very frustrated with how.
I don't think we want to go there.
As supporters of our country, people think that it's acceptable to, cause mayhem. There's absolutely no need for it whatsoever. If it was Leicester fans, if it was Arsenal fans, whatever it might be, they'd be banned from stadiums. So why can't we do it now?
Yeah, quite right. Dan, good evening, sir. How are you this evening?
I'm similar to Scott. It's really ruined what was supposed to be a momentous occasion, not just as a game of football, but for a whole nation after the shitstorm we have been dealing with lockdowns and COVID-19. Even the government have relaxed in restrictions, said okay, we'll allow more fans into the stadium. People saw an opportunity before kickoff and were storming the ground, and then afterwards they're fighting with their own fans because they're of different colour. Football doesn't have a colour. Football doesn't genderize people. It doesn't racially abuse people. It's a minority of people that are branded about in the media, and maybe the media makes it bigger than what it should be, but it needs to be, in my opinion, because it might only be a small section of fans, but when that small section of fans is out there, they're not fans. I can't even believe I've called them fans, because they're not. No. They're not. It's disgusting to even sort of put them in that bracket. They saw an opportunity and thought, you know what, let's do this. And I'll take you back to the incident when the last penalty shootout we had with Italy. I can't remember. I think that went Euros. The one where Pirlo sent like a Panenka down middle of goal past Jawart. Our last two penalties were taken by Ashley Young and Ashley Cole, and both were missed. Now, back then, I can't remember. I'm not too sure, obviously, whether there were a lot of, racial slurs about. It wouldn't surprise me, but obviously Instagram probably wasn't as big. Yeah. Now everyone's got a voice and everyone can sort of put what they want on, but it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that at all. And just seeing that at the end of the game, especially when you're already heartbroken as it is because of how, again, England and penalties, you just think, you know what? Why did I even bother going onto social media? It ruins it. Yeah. But yeah, we do.
Anyway, thanks everybody for joining us. That's the end of the show. Hope you enjoyed it. Poor Maisey. I mean, I kept her waiting long enough. And then Maisey sat there. Now, just before I bring you in, Maisey, I just want to say hi to Reece. Reece, I mean, it had to be third time lucky for you, didn't it? As a Scots, you didn't beat us. As Germany, you've got in you, didn't beat us. So you had to go there with Italy. Welcome, Reece. Thanks very much. Maisey, have you kind of got over it yet?
No, Not at all, to be honest. I woke up this morning and I still felt quite rubbish. You like, as a football fan, you're always going to be disheartened with the score, really, just in general, thinking, oh, wow, we've just lost a final. And you just get that, like, really horrible feeling in the bottom of your stomach, and you just want to just curl into a ball, don't you? Because that's what you like as a football fan, no matter how many finals we lost. I felt this. You know what? I felt even worse about losing this final than I did the Europa League final. Honestly, I felt even worse.
I was going to ask that, actually, because I actually would have felt worse, I think, at the FA Cup had we lost it, which we didn't, by the way, guys. We won the FA Cup, just in case you forgot. I'd like to get that in. Thank you for leading me into that, Maisey. But no, I was upset. Obviously, I was disappointed. Maybe because I'm older than probably the rest of you put together. I'm kind of used to it more. But
probably
I would have been more upset.
The World Cup.
Sorry?
Probably because you've seen us win the World Cup, wasn't it?
Oh. How's the keyring, Maisey? Anyway, but I wasn't quite as upset as I was, had we lost the FA Cup. I don't know about Maisey, you were more upset, you said, for England. Mm-hmm. Scott, would you have been more upset for the FA or the fact that we lost this?
I'd be more upset about losing the FA Cup. And the reason why is, as a Leicester fan myself, it's a case of we've wanted that for so long. Now we've actually got it. It's a duck off a bat, but it doesn't take anything away from what the lads achieved as England players. And, they've just been amazing all the way through the tournament. Everyone stuck to the task and everything like that. And it's just a shame that we're having to do this feed today and have all these flipping videos and live streams that have come apparent about these so-called people that think it's acceptable to fight amongst each other, to destroy places, breaking into Wembley. I could go on, and it's just frustrating because, if it happened down at the King Power or any other club, as a Leicester supporter, you, Chris, I can imagine, would want these supporters or whatever else not to be a part of.
Quite right, and it's hard to call them supporters in a way. It is, can I just say, it is Ankit's fault here because he did say it would be 1-1 and go to penalties. So I totally blame Ankit. So if you are subscribed to Chelsea Fan TV, go over and subscribe him. Joking, Ankit, joking. I mean, I feel a bit of a fraud coming and asking you about this, Dan, because you've never seen your team in a final. But would you have felt? Hey, good up.
Just like to say the 2009 playoff final. I saw the teams play, so that weren't too bad, and we won that one, so that's all right.
Have you ever won the championship?
You what?
Ever won the championship?
Yeah.
Well, at least you actually had a bit more success than your team, then, didn't it, Chris?
I think you'll find we won the championship as well.
The season that Leicester won it, we finished second.
No way.
Yeah.
Who remembers second, though? Sloppy seconds, Dan. Sloppy seconds. And when did Man United last win the Premier League? Before Leicester.
How many trophies have we got compared to?
All right. I knew you were going to come back with that one. We'll move on quickly. But Dan, I mean, we're going to look at everything in a second. But that last question here, all joking aside, it is club versus country. It is. I mean, I'll sit there, and I'll be honest with you. I'm not Sterling's biggest fan. And I've moaned about him in the past, and you do when you watch these players, but it doesn't mean that I want to get up and go out and then at the end of the game and go on my phone and start abusing him because he missed. Because, in our daily job, do those guys get abused? Well, they probably haven't got jobs, let's be honest. We haven't got the brains to get a job. But, we don't have somebody stood over us giving us abuse if, you're bloody blah, 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 because you didn't get that call right or whatever.
Yeah, it's just wrong. Going back to what you said about club and country and stuff, I think they are both on an equal level, especially when you take how far we've got this year. You know, we've got to the final. People started to believe. You know, I saw a post earlier saying, I don't understand everybody slagging us off for saying it's coming home. We didn't put a time scale on it. Leave us be. So, you know, fair point. I enjoyed that one. But in terms of like, it's similar with club thing. I mean, I look back at the Carling Cup when, you know, we ended up getting to the semi-finals. You know, we knocked out Chelsea on penalties, beat Arsenal 2-0 at the Turf. You know, I think we went 4-1 down against Spurs at their ground, and then came to Turf and thought, right, we're out of it already. We turned it on. We got it level. We were 2 minutes away from Wembley in extra time, and Pavlyuchenko killed us. It hurt. You know, that were probably that were up there. Probably my first time that I cried as a fan.
You've had plenty since.
Yeah. Plenty of tears.
Yeah, haven't we all, mate? Haven't we all?
But yeah, no. The thing I don't get is that no matter what level it is, these people. They just sit there like fat slobs behind a screen, a bit like me now, eating me McDonald's, but without a hatred towards anybody. I
would not have said a word.
You're a liar. But yeah, it is ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Reece says there, literally, as soon as the final whistle went, unity became divided again. That is. So true, you know.
I go back to what the post I put on earlier, that when we were actually in the tournament, people are colourblind. But as soon as that full-time whistle goes, that's it. Everybody's different. Everybody's got a colour, and that's it. You pick on who you want. That's how it sort of comes across, and it's not fair. It shouldn't work like that.
No, I mean, there's no excuse for abuse at all, even during the 90 minutes. But during the 90 minutes, you know, you can actually have a moan at the players, and as long as it's within reason and banter. But once the game's over, let's have a life. Let's get on with it. That's football. But I don't know. I just can't understand people's mentality sometimes. I really can't. But let's look at the first thing I want to talk about, which will be here. And let me just get rid of that comment from Reece. If I can find it again. Where were we? Oh, let's do this. So, Maisey, I mean, you know, you're probably the youngest amongst us all. Here we are saying, oh, it's bad, and all this, but look how long it took us to get here.
I know.
55 years, 302 games, over 1,400 miles travelled, 17 managers, and to make it to the final is amazing on its own, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely amazing achievement, isn't it, to get to that final? Like, if you want me to be honest, when you look at, like, before the Euro started, would you ever have put England in the final? No, you wouldn't. No. You wouldn't have expected England to go in the final. So knowing how well the team has played is absolutely incredible. Gareth Southgate, honestly, he's blown me away. How well he has done for the club. We're just improving every single tournament now. And you just get the odd idiot who says, I want Southgate sacked. If he wasn't so defensive, we would have won that. Well, first of all, if we didn't use our defenders properly, they'd be moaning that we'd be conceding a lot. And then you've got, you've had like experienced managers like Fabio Capello. What has he done for England? He done absolutely nothing. As an England manager, he was very disappointing. So they'd rather have someone like Fabio Capello, because he's got a big name, just so we can go back downhill. I've never known a manager like Gareth Southgate to unite clubs together. Like, you're playing like Saka and Foden and Mount all together in like one squad, and there's so much harmony, so much love. the way they're just like, my brother, I love you and all that. It's just absolutely incredible, the bond they've got, and I feel like that is down to Gareth Southgate as well.
I mean, you could say under previous managers, Phillips probably wouldn't even have got a look in because, Leeds aren't now, thought of as one of the big six. And, we know in the past managers haven't picked players because of the teams that they've played for. Coming on to you, Scott, because you're not, and this is where we all need to go and hide and put our tin hats on, because Scott isn't Southgate's biggest fan, shall we say. But look at this, Scott. I mean, World Cup in 2018, he got us to 4th. The Nations League, he got us to 3rd. The Euro 2020, we just had it, we were 2nd. We've beaten Germany, which we hadn't done for 55 years. He's won us 2 penalty shootouts. Is that nice there, Dan?
Yeah, it's lovely.
Dan, the Paul Hollingwood of the chat world. But I suppose that makes Maisey Prue Nice then, doesn't it, really?
Ooh, I don't want to be Prue Leaf.
No, she has a soggy bottom, but that's why I thought of you. But Scott, we've won penalty shootouts. He's got us over so many hurdles. I can't still see why people think he's not doing a bad job. And somebody said, and I think I said this before, now that the Euros are over, we can actually go back to abusing our own team managers now and complaining about the team they pick every week. I just don't see, like I say, what this hatred towards Southgate is.
You three might pick over your club managers, not me. Sean Dash picks that same team every year since we last won tournament. So
I don't pick on my Ole.
But
what with that? You don't play with your ravioli?
That's it.
All I can say is that it's not that I'm sorry, let me get my words out right. It's not that I'm a Gareth Southgate out person. Okay, I want to make that clear. At the end of the day, what he has done since he's been in has been fantastic. The way that he's moulded the players has been phenomenal. And the players that he's been bringing in, tournament after tournament, I cannot discredit him. Okay? I think he has done a phenomenal job. I think he's had a very hard job to do. And some of the selections that he's made, personally, no, I probably wouldn't have picked the players in them positions, so on and so forth. I just feel that last night he, in my mind, went a bit too defensive. I would have preferred to have seen possibly a 4-4-2 or a 4-2-3-1 formation, because I honestly think Italy was there for the taking last night. And I think with the players that we had to our disposal, we could have romped home. But at the end of the day, I'm not a football manager. All I am is a supporter of my country, a supporter of my club, and whatever Gareth Southgate chooses, that's on him, and I'll support him all the way.
Yeah. He didn't, I mean, Reece says there, Hansy, is it only me that when we're talking about the next German manager that I think of hello? Is it just me with hair flick? You're too young, Maisey. You're too young. We know, don't we, though, Dan, that if we'd have won last night, we wouldn't be criticising the manager. We do that with our own clubs, don't we? But I just want to show you this next clip here. These are the top 5 England managers, and this is just on win percentage. Fabio Capello, taking what Maisey said earlier, rubbish manager for us, but because of the easy groups, he had a 66% win record. Southgate is 2nd, Ramsey is 3rd, Hoddle 4th, Ron Greenwood 5. But Alf Ramsey won us the World Cup. He got us to the quarters of the Euros after that. We then didn't qualify for the next World Cup or the next Euros under him, or the World Cup or the Euros under the next manager. And look where we were thank God Roy Hodgson's not on that list. But look where we were under Roy when Gareth came in, and look where we are now.
Yeah, it's an achievement, and as you say, them. It's like some people say, stats don't lie, but then again, sometimes stats don't matter. Alf Ramsey, like as you said, I think it was 61.6 you had on there. That's a decent achievement in itself. Yeah. Anything over 50% is a positive as a manager at club level or national level, because obviously you don't know who you're coming up against. I think Southgate's done well to get that, because even in friendlies we've had decent teams that we've played against. We've played against the likes of Spain. We've played against the likes of France. We've played Germany. I think we played Brazil at one, but I think in one of Southgate's first games. I think we're at the Maracanã or something. I'm not sure if that were under Southgate or not. But we've played these sort of decent teams. Southgate, for me, I do agree with Scott. Last night, I do think that we started how we wanted. We were on the front foot. We're firing on all cylinders. And then the first goal came, and we sort of just went a bit like Burnley, get that 1-0 and shut up shop. And the thing is, we saw this against Croatia. We got the free kick against Croatia. We scored that. And then after that, our arse fell out. And it's just one of those things. It's gutting to take, because even Italy's goal wasn't anything spectacular. It wasn't something that. It's just the timing of it. Players looked like they were getting a bit leggy. You could see that Italy were growing into the game, and it's like my stepdad was shouting and bawling, and I said, "This is the thing, though. You give a team like Italy, who are on a numerical flaming advantage of how many games they've won back to back. You can't give them a sniff like that, and we did. You could see in extra time we had that last 10 minutes, didn't we, where we sort of pushed. But as I say, taking it back to the Southgate thing, he's done good enough in this tournament. And as you say, progression. We've had a semi-final. We've got to a final. 2 more years with this youthful squad, at club level or a year, sorry, should prove decent enough. And who knows what Qatar holds.
Yeah. Dan said there, Maisey, about our arses falling out, so I'll come to you.
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for that.
Thanks, Dan. You dropped me in
it. He's just my warm-up man. But the Facebook user there says, why do players perform for their clubs and they don't for the country? We've always had, and I said this in another show that we did in the lead up to the finals, is that as an England manager, you are under so much pressure to pick the best players simply because they are thought to be the best players. We made, I think it was probably you, Maisey, Paul Scholes on the left wing, because we felt we had to pick him, or the manager felt he had to pick him and play him somewhere. Roy Hodgson, Vardy on the left wing. An England manager has got to have the balls to say, this is the formation A and B that I'm going to play, and these are the players that will fit into that formation. And how good a player A is, for example, if he doesn't fit into that formation, he shouldn't be taking him, should he?
Yeah, 100% agree with you there. It's about the balance of the team at the end of the day. Like you say, you can't play someone in an unusual position just so we can have the bestest of the best players of that season. It's stupid. It makes zero sense whatsoever. It's just like, for instance, you'd say, oh yeah, Mason Mount's had an amazing season, but so's Grealish, but so's Foden. Let's play all 3 of them, so one can play maybe in defence, for instance. Why would you do that? Yeah. It makes no sense. People are going to get let down at the end of the day, and then they get the chance, and when they get the chance, they'll be able to make the best opportunity possible and to show to Gareth Southgate, I'm the one who you should be choosing.
I agree with what Maisey's saying there, because look at Luke Shaw. He scored that opening goal in the final. Prior to him, we had Chilwell. Chilwell got drops due to COVID and stuff. Shaw took his chance. Before Chilwell, he put Trippier at left back. And Shaw's come in, and you know what? Shaw's even had a decent season at club level. He's been the standout left back of the season last season. So to come in and bide his time and wait for his chance, and obviously score the goal to open the final, especially, I mean, today's his birthday, I think.
Yeah, it's his birthday.
Yeah.
So, you know, everything's just slotted into place for Luke Shaw. So he's already 1-0 up on Jose, really, isn't he?
Yeah, Kate, don't, and I don't want to argue with Kate because obviously Dan will pick on me if I do. He could, he could have. I won't tell her what you say off screen. He could have made the changes earlier, but he did that against Denmark, and he made the more changes in the extra time. And I thought personally that the fresher legs worked then, but yeah. It's all ifs, buts, and maybes, isn't it? But Scott, going through this sort of in a kind of chronological order, I mean, looking at these yesterday, the scenes of people trying to break into Wembley Stadium. I mean, what gives these people the right to think when they haven't purchased a ticket that they should be able to get in? You know, my thought when I was watching it afterwards and I saw them running past the security to try and get in, my thought, and I know it couldn't happen, was like Hillsborough.
Mm-hmm.
It's just words can't explain how these people must be thinking. I mean, don't get me wrong, everyone wants to be a part of the final and everything like that. But at the end of the day, there's a time and a place to do things. And, you know, trying to flipping get yourself into a stadium when, like you say, you've not gone and paid for tickets, you've not gone and you've just basically got no right to try and force your way into the stadium or anything like that. There was plenty of other beer gardens and whatever else, or you could have had family members around your house, so on and so forth. What gives people the right to force their way into a stadium where, you know, be realistic, we're supposed to be coming out of lockdown. Now, I can see this having a devastating effect, and the likes of the Prime Minister will probably take action and probably put us in lockdown for a bit longer because of some stupid people that think that they have a God-given right to force their way into a final, into somewhere where, yes, everyone wants to be a part of it, and I understand that, but when it comes to the staff and everything like that, I can only apologise as a Leicester fan, as an England fan, and, you know, everything that they've had to deal with. I'm absolutely disgusted and devastated that people can feel that it is acceptable for this kind of behaviour.
Yeah.
I just don't understand, like I say, where they think, you know, that they've got, like you said, they've got the God-given right to do that, you know. And
a man even said, though, as well, Chris, that, you know, he got tickets for the final, and he said that even in the quarters and the semis, not the quarter, sorry, because that were in Rome, but, you know, the semis and the last 16, there were people sneaking in, you know, going back to back with their mates so they could go through the turnstile one at a time.
Yeah.
You know, and he said that it were happening, and even then you're a bit like, well, where's the security? He said there was hardly any during those games. Which for the final, I said, look, it'll be clapped down on with that. But then, in typical England fashion, they just go and prove us wrong and just go and be, you know, what did John Barnes say in World in Motion? We ain't no hooligans. Well, we are. A minority of us are.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But Maisey, I mean, Dan made the point there. You know, where was the security? Where were the stewards? But let's be honest with you, if I was a steward, you've got to think twice about approaching people. You don't know if they're going to whip a knife out or something.
Exactly. Honestly, these stewards, if I was a steward, I'd be actually so scared of going up to someone, especially when they're in a group of people, because you don't know anything these days. Anyone could grab a knife or grab a gun or smash a bottle and hurl it at your face. Anything could happen at the end of the day. You don't know what each person could be like, especially if they're drunk or they're with their friends. When you look at stuff like the scenes from yesterday, like people going into the stadium, and you see some stuff in London where people are just smashing bottles, and you just think, like, you're not even surprised that so many fans dislike us at the end of the day, because we act absolute fools, and stuff like this. You think, wow.
We're the Millwall of international football, aren't we?
Yeah, it just makes you feel so disappointed, so ashamed.
Yeah, you sound like a parent there. That's what I used to say to my kids. Now, I'm not annoyed, I'm not angry, but I'm very disappointed. Yes. Scott, let's talk football, because amongst all this, there was a football match and a football tournament going on. This is how we got there. And when you look at this, and I apologise to Reece, because I know he's got a couple of teams in there, three he didn't do so well against England, but one that did. When you look at that, you know, in open play, we haven't lost a game in open play in 90 minutes or extra time, and we've only conceded 2 goals.
Yeah, exactly. You know, when you look at it and what the team and Gareth have actually gone and achieved. I mean, albeit against Scotland we drew, the rest of the tournament has been amazing. It's been great to be part of. It doesn't matter whether you've been to the actual games or anything like that. You know, watching it in front of the TV. Every player that has pulled a shirt on for our country has done us proud, regardless of the outcome yesterday. At the end of the day, it don't matter, you know, if they play for Arsenal, if they play for Man United, Chelsea, doesn't matter. They represented our country, and I'm so proud of every single one of them. Gareth Southgate, legend in my eyes. You know, like I say, if it were me, I'd have changed things formation-wise as of yesterday. But on a whole, he has been fantastic, and so is the rest of the players. And I cannot fault them whatsoever. I'm just so enraged about, you know, all these supporters and whatever else. It's unforgivable. It really is.
Dan, the team was announced. And he changed formation, but he'd only made the one change, and everybody again was moaning, oh, you can't leave Saka out, and Saka's had a brilliant tournament, and we'll obviously come on to him later. Bringing Luke Shaw back in, well, 2 minutes in, he was proved right again, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, it's just...
What was your thoughts on, like, the overall team selection and the change of formation?
I thought it was decent. I did think, though, that we needed to go pretty much all out early guns. I thought, to be honest, we needed to have a similar mentality to how Spain played. We needed, be on that front foot. Don't let them come into our half. First half, I don't think, like I say, I don't remember them coming into our half that much until probably the last 5 or 10 minutes. But then again, as you say, they grew into the game. But the team sheet, I was sceptical and I've been sceptical with every team sheet they've put out, but we seem to perform. So it was a case of, all right, okay, that's his team for the final. Fair enough. I was surprised that, Harry Kane starting, to be fair. I thought he'd have dropped Harry Kane for the final and brought him on, which I thought he might have give a chance to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, or maybe even put somebody like Grealish in there and stuck Grealish up top and sort of had like a different angle, because if you do put Grealish in that sort of forward role, he's not going to come deep like Kane has. Grealish probably would have been a bit bewildered why I'd put him there, but end of the day, I think with Grealish, he's just happy for the game time, and I could see why Gareth did what he did. I can totally get why he brought Grealish on, changed the game, give us that momentum, because it's worked. But bringing Henderson on, the Henderson substitution didn't work for me.
I agree with that one.
You know, I think...
Was it maybe bringing an experienced head on? I mean, on the TV, and I was watching a bit of ITV and a bit of BBC. You know, Phillips was dead on his feet, bless him. I mean, how he managed to get as far as he did, but it was
that's
Rice.
What I mean. That's another one. That's another one. When he took Rice off, I thought, why has he took Rice off and not Phillips? You know, that were a strange one for me. I think you could see that Saka were getting tired in the game. You know,
I noticed Sterling as well. He looked very tired, especially near to the end.
Yeah, because there was the chance where he sort of cut in and he went near the post, and then he lost the ball, and instead of chasing him, he just sort of trickled behind him because he just couldn't breathe any more out of his backside than he were. But for me, Saka was one of those. Saka was one of those where, to be fair, had a decent game, but every now and again his touch let him down. I think Saka's touch let him down quite a bit in that game. There were a few times where he's took a heavy touch here and stuff like that. And I'm not picking at Saka for that, because at the end of the day, it's a final. He's 19-year-old. His arse will probably go in 20p, 50p to begin with. So, you know, for something like that to happen.
Do you know, dear?
Oh my God, clipped.
You've got this fascination with arses today, haven't you?
I have. But I'm clipping that. The missus agreeing with me. What's all this about?
I could not put that up, could I? Really? You know? Kate, I'm afraid you made a camel for your own back, the store for you, or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm in shock that she's agreed with you as well. You said, "Can't get me words out." Maisey, we started off really, really well. I mean, at first half, I thought, my God, of course we got the early goal, but look at these stats here for the game. And Maisey, possession, okay, we know from when Leicester won the league, possession's not the end of the world, but 19 shots from Italy, 6 from England, 2 shots on target all game. Is that good enough for a team in the final of a major competition?
No, it's not good enough at the end of the day. Even though we didn't have anyone like Grealish on, or we didn't have Foden on, we still had players who were capable of creating goals, creating chances. Mason Mount, the winner of the Champions League. You've got Sterling, the winner of the Premier League. I'm not obviously discrediting Sterling at all, because he's been amazing, but I'm just obviously stating people. Harry Kane, the highest goals, highest assists in the Premier League. You've got Luke Shaw, and you've also got Trippier, who are both good at going forward. So I don't understand why we didn't have that many shots on target, especially on the first half. We completely dominated the ball, didn't we?
Yes, we so did. I mean,
and we only had 1 shot on target on the first half, and even then I was really mind blown at it, thinking, how have we only had 1 shot on target? But at the time we was winning, and I thought, right, it's okay, it's coming home. But
I was at half time. I was singing the old, whoa, we're halfway there. I was well excited. Well, when I say singing, I mean you could question that. Clearly. I mean, Dan sticks to the spoken word and poetry. I do attempt to sing. Scott, there's a lot of players. And it happens, it does happen. But there's a lot of players that didn't turn up in that final. Now, whether they were tired, like you said, but Kane didn't turn up, Sterling did. You could go on. Unfortunately, it happens in football. Look at us, and when we played Slavia Prague in the second leg at home, we had 10 players that virtually didn't turn up. It happens, but it was a bad time for it to happen, wasn't it? The actual final itself.
Yeah, I think it was. At the end of the day, I think the worst player that has played for the squad over the length of the tournament has got to be Harry Kane. As much as he's done well for his club and everything like that over the last couple of seasons, after getting through the qualifying rounds and everything like that, for me, it was a time of, right, we need to swap Kane. I know he's obviously scored against, was it Germany, and I think the other one was Sweden that he scored against. But by the by, I'm not trying to be funny, but if you were to put a Conference League striker in front, in them positions, he'd have put the ball in the back of the net. Kane, for me, probably, in my opinion, was the worst player for the squad through the whole tournament. So, you know,
Yeah, I agree with you there. It was definitely my most disappointing player. Knowing how, even though like how much Tottenham parks the bus on near enough every single game, and you've got Harry Kane who's had the highest goals and the highest assists in the Premier League, you expect so much more from him. You expect him to get them chances. You expect him to score that goal, and it's just really disappointed me so much. And it's just a bit of a shame for Calvert-Lewin. He's had a couple of minutes in the entire tournament. It's not really fair, if you want me to be honest.
It isn't, and I know what you're saying. Had Kane done what he did against Germany, and the ball had gone in off his arse in the 89th minute, we're fans, we would have been singing off a different hymn sheet. Andrew says there, Maisey, if you can't turn up for final, then you don't deserve to play for England. But it happens in football games. It happens in everybody's. Oh, you're right, Maisey. It happens. Put that key ring down. I've told you before, not when we were on air. No, but it happens in our everyday work. We have days, I'm sure. I know I've had days when I've sat there at work, and I used to be in sales, and I've sat there at work and just gone, oh, and I've just not been able to get up and get going. Not that I don't want to, I just can't. And it happens, doesn't it, Maisey?
Yeah, definitely. You do have them days where you think, wow, I'm feeling so shitty, or wow, I'm just feeling so tired. But then when you feel like that, especially when it's a big, massive tournament like that, you need to say to the manager, listen, I don't feel 100%. I think it's best maybe if I come on as a sub instead. Just have a little bit of a confidence, speak up to the manager about it. I'm sure Gareth would have been like, well, you're playing and that's it. I can't imagine Gareth being like that to a player. He probably would have said, that's okay, we'll put you on the 70th minute, 80th minute, whatever, and hopefully it's coming home. That's what I can imagine Gareth would be like. I can't imagine him being a bit of an idiot about it.
Yeah, we need the background music here, don't we, for this comment?
Sorry about that. That was my son. But yeah, as Maisey was saying, when it comes to Kane and things like that, he's one of those players that you'd expect things from him. You'd expect him to be able to have more chances, create more chances, and whatever else. And when he's literally at the halfway line, and he's trying to put the ball up the park or whatever else. If that's his best position, playing for England, then quite frankly, play him, in midfield or just above midfield as an attacking midfielder or something. Because quite frankly, we need someone further up the pitch a lot more often.
At least he wasn't on corners.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's one of those that, I would have preferred to have seen the likes of Raheem Sterling playing as your number 9, at least that he's going to be in the 18-yard box most of the time, not hanging back all the time and trying to make something happen or whatever else. If Kane's best position within the England squad is to play a through ball or whatever else, that's fine. Play him as an attacking midfielder. Put someone up as a striker. That's your sole responsibility. You had Marcus Rashford that could have played any one of them games. And I'm not trying to be funny, but he's the sort of player that, one, he's got pace, he's got skill, he's got, there's so many great attributes that this player has got. And yet he didn't get the opportunity quite like Kane did. Now, after a couple of games, me personally, I'd have dropped Kane and I'd have gone, right, I know you're my captain, I respect that, but at the end of the day, I've got to put someone in that is going to play in that 18-yard box. So when the ball does get flown in or, ball over the top, he's there, not the far own 18-yard box as Kane was most of the time.
Yeah. I completely agree with you there. And another thing, because I don't mind if a player wants to drop deep. That's absolutely fine, as long as they've got the pace to catch up when we counter attack. Kane doesn't have that pace like Raheem Sterling does, or Saka does, or whoever is playing on the wings.
Jamie Vardy does.
Like, you could see, like, Sterling, he's got the ball, he's counter-attacking up the pitch on wherever he's playing, left or right or whatever, and then you've got Harry Kane like that travelling along at the back because he's bloody struggling to catch his bloody breath. Like, come on, you need if you want to drop deep, he needs to become a faster player. If he can't keep up with the likes of Raheem Sterling or Saka or Foden or whoever's playing on the wings, then stay near the box for when we counter-attack, because there's so many opportunities in the Euros where we've counter-attacked, and because there hasn't been Kane there to support the wing players, we're fucked.
I'm going to have to quote this, and I don't like taking the rye out of my own fans, out of Leicester City, say my fans, but out of Leicester City fans and my own club. But I've got to. This was actually, I did put it up on Twitter, but this was posted in the Leicester Till I Die Facebook group earlier today, and it wasn't said, I don't think, as tongue in cheek. I think the guy was being totally serious when he wrote, "Why didn't Vardy come on instead of Rashford? Why didn't Maddison come on instead of Saka? The English team deserved the defeat." And I'm like, neither of them were in the squad. It's like, oh, we're at Wembley. Hang on, let me just ring Tuchel, see if he's got a couple of players that are free that he can just send down.
If that's the case, then why didn't they bring flipping Harvey Barnes in to play?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day,
Gary Lineker was at Wembley. He could have put a pair of boots on, couldn't he?
As long as he don't poo on the pitch.
You've got to bring it down, Maisey, haven't you? It's all toilet talk with you. All toilet talk. She looks so innocent, young, and she's not. Just after that key ring. No, yeah, right. Dan. If you were talking of toilet, if you were sort of having a bit of a longer wee than you'd sort of planned as the national anthems were being sung, you'd have missed it. What a start. What a goal. I think it kind of maybe clipped the post as it went in, but the fastest ever goal in the final. Apparently, it's only the 5th fastest in tournament history, which is a bit scary, but my God, my drink went everywhere.
Yeah, it were absolute scenes. I just remember sitting there. I think it came from Kane deep, didn't it, really? And then he played it out wide to Trippier. I think somebody took the overlap. Trippier saw that the defender was trying to inch off towards them, realised he had a bit of time and space. I mean, the guy learnt his trade at Burnley, so I've got to give him that. Trippier whips a perfect ball in, straight to the back stick. You could see Shaw were running in. He put his arm up for it. And he just connected. It was the most sweetest connection. It's one of those connections you don't expect from a left back. It's a connection you'd expect from a striker. He sort of hit it into the ground, but he's hit it hard. He's hit it true. He's hit it straight. Even Donnarumma thought he had his angles covered, and he got it inch perfect. It was just the perfect start, and it was one of those. It sort of took me by surprise. I were eating KFC at the time. Jesus Christ, I want to sound like a fast food critic.
I'm going to say, nip and two here.
Yeah, KFC today. I mean, KFC yesterday, McDonald's today. Christ.
So Dan, how is the diet coming along? How is the diet coming along?
It's going all right. I'm doing the Nigel Adkins diet.
The what diet?
Instead of the Atkins diet, I'm going for the Nigel Adkins diet.
Yeah, I think you're going to have to explain that. You're going to have to explain that, mate.
Yeah,
sorry.
I'll explain that after.
After, right.
Don't you worry, Dan.
Seafood
I'm on all you can see. I'm on an all you can see diet. Don't you worry.
Yeah, this is why I don't mind doing this, because you can only see me from there upwards. Actually, I'm getting, but by the end of next season, I'll be that far away from the desk. I'll be at the back wall because I can't get any closer.
His nipples are just off camera, people.
Oh, here we go. Honestly, bring it down, Ed. Bring it down.
Sorry, can I just say, for the goal itself, it was actually Luke Shaw that actually started the actual move. He switched it over to Trippier.
Was it Shaw?
Yeah, it was Luke Shaw that actually started the the press sort of thing. He switched it over to Trippier, and then obviously Trippier's gone on with it, and obviously the rest is history sort of thing. But yeah, it was actually Luke Shaw that actually started the move itself.
The missus is getting it back now, isn't she? I mean,
yeah, it's always fun.
But you're quite right. I mean, Reece says here, quite ironic that two Man United players scored for their countries at this tournament, and both are heavily scapegoated by fans, Luke Shaw and Paul Pogba. I mean, as I say, I've scapegoated fans. I got to say, Luke Shaw, absolutely brilliant tournament for me. Absolutely brilliant. Maisey, it was all going so well, and then the Italians being Italians, they pulled it back. It was a bit of a lucky goal, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was definitely a lucky goal because you had Pickford there. He'd done a couple of good saves, and it was just the fact that we didn't really defend very well as the team, really. And what I didn't understand was Harry Kane was on the actual line of the net. How did he not
That was going to be my next question. Yeah, I mean, Scott said he was playing deep. I mean, bloody hell, how deep can you get?
He just wants Pickford job now, doesn't he? He just wants to be everywhere where he isn't supposed to be. You know what? Let Luke Shaw and Harry Kane swap positions because I'm sure Luke Shaw will do a much better striking job.
Oh, controversial. But it was lucky, wasn't it, Scott? I can't say it was a good goal because it hit the post, it came back out and fell to him.
You say lucky, but at the end of the day, our defence at that point in time was abysmal. Apart from Pickford, how he ever kept that off the line, the original flipping strike, is beyond me because that were going in. So even more credit to Pickford for that. But like Maisey was saying, why have you got your centre forward on the flipping goalkeeper's line? He should be further up the pitch. So if anything happens, we can hit him on the counter. And I ain't trying to be funny. Don't get me wrong, Kane has been phenomenal over the last couple of years for his club, and possibly for the World Cup as well. He was instrumental. But I think he's one of them players now that if he ain't playing at attacking midfielder come the World Cup next year, I think he gets dropped. And I'd like to see the likes of possibly Harry Maguire as captain for the World Cup next year. Because quite frankly, I don't think Kane, unless he finds some pace or something like that, I don't think he'll make the squad next year.
One second, sorry. Hello. Yeah. I'll let him. Dan, Pete's Hut's on the way, apparently. Your order's on its way.
Pal.
Thank you, mate. Cheers. So, I shouldn't laugh at my own jokes, really, should I? But nobody else does. So, Dan, I'm going to come to you for this one. I mean, 5 yellow cards to the Italians, 1 to England. There should have been a red, shouldn't there? Yeah,
massively. I mean, it's a tactical. It's a tactical foul, isn't it? If you're looking at it, if it was your team, you'd have said it anyway. But the antics that they were pulling in that game, not just that incident. There was the incident where the connection on Grealish's leg. It wasn't even the fact that he hit the inside of his leg. First, the back of his studs sort of knock his kneecap on the other leg, and then the rest of his foot follows through onto the other. They played dirty. And I think I saw something online saying that if that's the way that they have to go and win it, then fair enough. At least we got to the final playing with dignity.
They always have been a dirty team, though, Italy, haven't they? They've always been known for it, for the dive. But, I mean, to me, Maisey, he just about pulled he could have strangled him there. But what is the linesman doing? I mean, the linesman stood there. Surely he should be going to the round. I know the refs booked him, obviously, but come on. That should have been a red in anybody's eye, shouldn't it?
100% a red. It was seriously so reckless. I was looking at it thinking he could have really damaged Saka, really, couldn't he? He could have strangled him, because especially these days with like it tops, they're just tight and all that, and they're fitted, isn't it? England tops these days, because like when you look at them retro ones, they're a bit baggy on you and they feel a lot nicer. But
they're never baggy enough when you're my size. That's the problem.
They're really tight, these clothing. I don't understand why.
But even so, if you look at like incidents like that and you think, why is VAR getting involved? VAR should have stopped the ref going, no, look at the monitor. It's a clear red. That's what they should have done. If the linesman didn't get involved, which he didn't, then VAR should have got involved. Why they haven't got VAR if they can't come and tell the ref when they're doing something wrong?
Yes.
Can I just quote something from Reece's comment there? That I want to know where England have done it themselves in this tournament for a start. The only thing I think you could say about Reece is that people were going on about Sterling's penalty shouldn't have been a penalty in the Denmark game. It was an upper body check. His knees connected. If you watch it back from all angles, you can see it was. At first, I was sceptical, and I thought it wasn't. He's gone down a bit soft. But after seeing it back numerous times, there is a connection there. And about dirty behaviour, we've been dealt a shit hand. We've had the hand of God. We've had Lampard's ghost goal that didn't count. We've been dealt some pretty shit hands. And to be fair, sometimes you need the rub of the green. Unfortunately, we got the rub of the green, the white, and the bloody red, and we ended up seeing it,
Hey, bum. Well, I'll tell you what, in response to that, I've actually just sent Reece a link, and we'll see if he will come in and answer that directly to you, Dan. I can't remember the exact moment, Scott, but I'm sure at some point, I had a few G&Ts by this time, that we could have had a penalty with Sterling.
Yeah, that was a bit controversial in itself. Do I think there was enough on it? I'm not entirely sure, and it's not really my thing to say, sort of thing. All I can say is when it comes to the likes of VAR and the referees and so, don't get me wrong, majority of the time through the tournament, they have been spot on. But like Dan was saying, this final, I'm sorry, but it's been shambolic refereeing. It's been shambolic VAR. Why VAR was never brought in? And if it was, then I'm sorry, but whoever was officiating, quite frankly, shouldn't be officiating again. Some of the decisions that was made or wasn't made, words can't explain how poor it was from a refereeing point of view. That happened. I mean, the shirt tug, yeah, all right, it probably was a tactical foul, but I'm not trying to be funny. If Saka
further up the pitch, that's given a red, and it's a goal scoring opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. And it's things like that. It's not just being an England fan, being a supporter and a lover of having the love for football itself. Seeing things like that and incidences like that happen in today's game. I'm not trying to be funny, but if I was a referee, hands down, I'd have gave it a yellow card. I'd have gave it a red card because I think if it had just been a tug on the back of the shirt, i.e. waist height, something like that, fair enough. But I think the way that he's grabbed hold of him, not once but twice, within split seconds, to me, I'm sorry, but it ain't a tactical foul. It's literally he's just out of his depth.
Reece is here, and I'm going to bring him in a second. But just before I bring him in, and we'll probably just leave Reece and Dan on screen, and they can go with each other. Maisey, is it me as a fan? Because as soon as that guy was announced as a ref, I was on a chat, and I said, "Oh, this guy's just been announced as the ref," and everybody's going, "Oh, God help us," and all this, that, and the other. But I thought maybe as a fan, it was because we were winning. But I thought in the first half, he was actually having a decent game. Or was that just me and I should have gone to Specsavers?
I think it's one of those that he's tried to allow the flow of the game to go on with a couple of the tackles. Now, don't get me wrong, I do understand it, and I do appreciate, as a referee, it is a hard place to be in. But as the game's gone on, he's allowed certain tackles to creep in from both sets of players, and gradually they've just got worse to a point where he's lost control of that game.
Maisey, your thoughts on the referee?
I thought the referee was absolutely shambolic. He was a terrible ref. The decisions he made was absolutely awful. Two of the Italian fans players should have been sent off. Jorginho was I feel like the Jorginho tackle was the one what really annoyed me even more. I was looking at it thinking, ref, what you doing? VAR, what you doing? And it just got to that point where it's like, if you're giving a yellow for something so disgusting like that, it just shows really whose side the ref is on. From what I was reading, the ref's partner was Italian, so he was probably obviously biased towards Italy anyway.
Oh, controversial. Allegedly, just in case the lawyers are watching, allegedly.
I don't understand how they could call it Dutch courage, though. The Dutch didn't even have the courage to flame and go and check the monitor of VAR, so can't call it Dutch courage anymore.
Let's welcome Reece in. Good evening, Reece. You haven't got your Italian shirt on. You haven't got your Italian shirt on, so that's something we've got to thank you for. At last,
Elton.
Nah, I'm wearing the best thing to come at 66, mate. I'm wearing the best thing for 66.
Moving the top.
That's the only thing that matters.
Follow the boat. And sit on your car. The seagulls do. Anyway, Reece. I mean, just first of all, say your comment again, Dan.
He's challenging.
Which one?
Take a seat here.
Ed Sheeran's challenging me now, eh?
The one about where Reece said about England were dirty.
Yeah, I just want to know where England's sort of dirty tactics came into play.
I bet you so bad. Maybe you should sell another number one single. I never said you weren't totally bad. I said you are as bad as each other. But there were moments from that game that were a little bit off-putting. But I didn't reference the final, though. I'm referencing games before. Like, you look at the Denmark game, for example. There are some controversial moments in that. One particular stands out for me is Kane diving. I don't care about Raheem Sterling, because we've already seen that was proven as a penalty. But maybe 4 or 5 times in that game, Kane was diving for set-piece situations, and that's where I'm like, there were some issues for Italy. Can't take that away. But both are as bad as each other. That's why I'm referencing that, and just to give you the context.
To be fair, I can't even fault that. You are right. I even said it myself against Denmark that Kane. I mean, he's already got glass ankles as it is. So to be fair, when he gets touched, going down like a sack of shit is not. It's not great. The only one for me that stood out was the potential penalty on Kane. I thought that was more of a penalty than the Sterling incident. Yeah, but at the end of the day, after getting the Sterling one, we weren't going to get Kane's. So,
but there's a difference, is there not, Reece? I mean, we've got Jamie Vardy as a striker at Leicester. He's the king at being able to get a penalty out of nothing. And while he's doing it, and I'll admit that, he plays to get the penalties. They're still penalties, don't get me wrong, but he does play for them. And it's for my club, so great, carry on doing it, sort of thing.
He only gets him because his wife's a grass.
His wife's used to being on the grass.
She won the first court battle, I believe. But allegedly, again, you guys are going to just get me into so much financial trouble with the lawyers. But Reece, there's a difference between a player going down with if you feel contact. Lineker will say, and he never got sent off in his career. You feel a touch in the box, you go down. If you're not going to be able to score, go down and see if you can get a penalty. It's part and parcel. There's a difference between that and virtually being strangled.
Oh, I've got nothing against that. Like that was the bit that I'm still trying to get lost for words on, because it is still described as a professional foul. It was given as a professional foul. I can see why the referee is given as a professional foul, because obviously it is the last man of defence, but it's nowhere near the goal. So I can see why you're not going to get a red card for that situation. But if it had been around 15, if it had been like 15 yards forward, Chiellini would have been sent off.
Yeah.
What's the rule on bookings for teams as well, though? Because isn't there a certain rule about if a team gets so many bookings, they get fined or something?
Yeah, there is a certain criteria. I think it's like 6 or 7, something like that.
There were 5. I don't think they're going to. We could always claim it was close and we should replay the game. Get Nigel Farage
in the build up to the goal, I'm sure there were an elbow. I'm sure there were an elbow where ball came across. I'm sure of it.
There were certain bits in that game. The one thing that definitely wasn't a yellow card or a red card, in my opinion, was the Jorginho situation. I'll go on record on that. I don't think that was anything. I don't think you can.
Is that the one on Grealish?
The one on Jack Crybaby Grealish, aye. Like, of all due respect to him, right? Jack Grealish has slid into the ball on Jorginho. Jorginho's also slid in to get the ball. Well, half slid. He was still on his feet. His foot's on the ball trying to control it, and his foot slipped. And he's landed on Grealish. That's not his fault. I can see why some people would want him to get sent off because it gives your team the advantage. But if he got sent off for that, that would have been completely disgraceful, because that was never a red card situation. You see it.
I'm sorry, Reece. I've got to disagree with you on that, because I think the way that he's gone in with the challenge and things like that, Jorginho, that is I understand it's a 50-50 challenge and whatever else, but because he's gone in with his studs showing, and in the letter of the law.
If you look back at that challenge as well, so was Grealish as well. His right foot, his studs are showing going for the ball, and that's why I'm saying like it's 50-50. Like Jack Grealish has slid in trying to get the ball, but you've also got Jorginho who is trying to stand on the ball, like to physically control it, and then his foot slipped, and obviously he stood on Grealish's, he stood on his knee. It's not intentional. I wouldn't call that as a red card. I would definitely say yellow. Like a yellow card, I can understand that, but I don't think it's that serious to give it as a red. That's my only thing. I don't think it's red card worthy.
Be right back, crispy pizza Huts here.
It's one of those that at the end of the day, it's the intent behind it and the actual force behind it. And I probably am looking at it with tinted glass sort of thing. But to me, I appreciate that. You've got the likes of Grealish did go in with his stud showing, and the same for Jorginho. I think because Jorginho's got his foot actually in the air and the contact that he's made with Grealish's knee, I think that's where, personally, it should have been a red.
I see where you're coming from. I'm just thinking they've both gone in with a similar sort of intent. They've both tried to get the ball. Grealish has slid in, one foot is up. I'm sure it was his right foot because his left foot was sliding in underneath him. But he is sliding in with his foot up, trying to get the ball the same way Jorginho is. I think that if you punish Jorginho, you've got to punish Jack Grealish as well. You can't just give one over the other. But I can see where you're coming from. Like I get where you're coming from, and obviously I've got an Italian family. Of course, I want Italy to fucking win that game, and they did. But I'm looking at it from a neutral perspective there as well. Like where I see
on that note, to remind us that Italy won it, Reece. On that note,
I'm only saying it once. Relax.
Don't blame me. You've taken the stick. So I don't blame you all. Look,
I'm going in from the neutral point, but I do get where you're coming from. I do get where you're coming from. But I will say this: Jack Grealish's antics afterwards. He's touched me. Like, behave yourself. You're no fucking Ronaldo from Portugal. Like, relax yourself. He was acting like Ronaldo 15 years ago.
With Italian in his, with Italian in your family and stuff, and being Scottish, is that not an insult when you sell a pizza crunch?
Nah, it's all right.
On that note, we'll take a quick 10-second break and we'll be right back after this.
Hi, Alan Smith here. Be sure to watch and listen to Chris on Leicester Till I Die TV. You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels. Up the Foxes!
Just to remind you guys, anyone that's watching, 5 o'clock tomorrow, live, I will be interviewing that very same gentleman, Alan Smith.
I'm going to say something controversial. I was going to say something controversial.
Ex-Leicester player. No, he played a few times for a team down in London. But you'll
like this comment, mate. He's a Leicester legend. Just happened to play for Arsenal.
Yeah, but Arsenal cannot have their own legends, mate. They have to go and pinch other people's.
That's all right. We pinched their captain and won a legal fund.
Maisey's been very quiet out there, which for a lady makes a change.
It's because I'm acting like a lady. That's why I'm quiet.
I thought you nipped off to the toilet, to be honest with you.
And I'm shocked as well. You heard that, right?
Heard what? What did you say?
Dan's reaction.
What you said.
I'm acting ladylike.
I am ladylike. I am.
Moving on. I think. Hey, we've got to talk about it. It was a game that swung one way then the other. It ended up, unfortunately for England, with the penalties. Maisey, you've been very good. You've been quiet. Let me come to you with this. Southgate afterwards. It is down to me, said Southgate, to the penalty misses. I decided on the penalty take is based on what they have done in training. Now, I've said there, because people have criticised the fact that Saka was asked to take a penalty. And I know it's not the same doing it in training. It's not. I grant that. But what Southgate's done, and I think it's a good idea, is he's looked at training. He's practiced penalties after every training session and said, well, this guy scored 8. This guy scored 10. They're going to be in my top 5. These guys have only scored 1 or 2. They're going to be right at the bottom. And to be honest with you, if you're old enough to play, then you're old enough to be taking penalties. Because somebody said that Gareth Southgate wasn't picking certain players because he didn't feel they were ready, old enough and experienced enough to play. Well, he picked Saka a lot of the times. Yes, he missed, and I'm not having to go at him for missing the penalty, but he's on that pitch. What if it had been 5, 6, 7 all and it had come down to him? He'd have then still had to take one.
Mm-hmm.
As I say, if you're old enough to play, you're old enough to be taking pens. I know he's only 19, but go back to the 40s and the 50s. 17-year-olds were fighting in wars, and yeah. So this 19. I'm sorry, it's not like he's a fucking baby.
Yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from, to be honest, because like you say, he's on the pitch at the end of the day, Saka, so yeah, he should be taking a penalty. In my personal opinion, though, would I put Saka at 5th? No, I wouldn't have done.
I agree totally with that. That maybe was the question.
Yeah, I would have put other players before him. Sterling would have been instance. Another one who I probably would have picked before him as well, Grealish.
But maybe they weren't hitting the target in practice, like I say.
Maybe not. Maybe so.
He was probably practicing his headband positions.
Yeah.
You'd have him United.
He wouldn't be my first choice signing. I've said that a few times.
Sorry, Maisey, carry on.
If I was going to look at penalties, you would look at picking people who take penalties for their club. What I'd be looking at first. Like, who takes the penalties for the club? Like, you've seen Grealish take them a couple of times for Villa. You've seen Sterling take them a couple of times for Man City as well. Like, I was even sceptical when I saw Harry Maguire take a penalty.
He took a brilliant penalty. I'm not going to lie.
But smashed the camera.
Yeah, but surely that's the way to do it. And I said this on Stephen's chat last night. If a player doesn't want to take a penalty, there's a player that does want to take the penalty. Having somebody take a penalty that wants to is better than making somebody who doesn't want to take the penalty because their mindset's not there at the start.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
Scott,
but now we know now you know they're not volunteered though, and it was Southgate's choice. You do think, well, did he make the right choice at the end of the day?
Well,
how did he make that choice? Why?
To be honest with you, that's the problem you've got, and I'll come to Scott with this one. The problem you've got with what Maisey's saying quite rightly there is if you're asking for volunteers, then you get the Southgate problem that we had against Germany. You've then got the point of Man United against Villarreal. It goes right down to the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper.
Oh, come on, Chris! Stop mentioning that.
Stop bringing that up, man.
No, I'm not having to do. But the goalkeeper wouldn't volunteer to take a penalty, but he had to take one. And like I said, I just honestly think, if I'm asked to take a penalty, I wouldn't want. I'd missed a penalty in a tournament, and I was a lot younger, I have to say. But Scott, if they surely looking at who's good at penalties in practice is the way to do it, because at least those people should be able to hit the target.
See, I think of it in a different sense, and the reason why I say this is you've got to look at who regularly takes penalties for their clubs, right? I get that you've got the likes of training and they take a lot of penalties in training and whatever else, but when you're in front of, say, whether it's 40,000, 60,000, you've got to look at the players that have taken penalties regularly for their club and they have done well for their club.
But that hasn't worked out for us in the past, has it?
Yeah, I understand that. And, at the end of the day, fair play to the players that have actually taken these penalties, regardless of the outcome or anything like that, to step up and be in front of the masses of fans and whatever else. You can't fault them. But for me personally, I would have preferred to have seen players that have played in more tournaments and that, to be taking these penalties. And this is nothing against the likes of Saka and, other players that have come in and they've tried to do a job. At the end of the day, my personal preference would have been, for the likes of Shaw or someone else, even Pickford, for example.
I get what you're saying. I mean, Kate, you should make the most of it. If his mouth is moving with no sound, I mean, I can't believe you're complaining about that.
that's usually happening when she's got her hand over mine saying, I beg your pardon, is that back chat I can hear?
I mean, I must admit, I never spoke to my my ex-wife for, I think it was about once I didn't speak to her for 6 months. Not that we'd argued, I just didn't like to interrupt her.
I get where you're coming from in terms of penalties and all that, and the situation how you'd rather prefer someone who's present regularly.
Sorry, Reece. I can just bring this point up. Sorry, first. David's saying here, why bring on Rashford and Sancho only to take a penalty? We've had that at Leicester, where Vardy's come on, and the first touch he took was a penalty, and I believe he actually might have missed it. But again...
I think he did.
Yeah. But again, Rashford and Sancho must be, better at penalties than maybe two defenders that were on the pitch still.
The thing is, though, Chris, I said even when Rashford stepped up, and I just said to everyone, I said, he's missing this. He's missing it. And the only reason I said that is because it took too long. The run-up was poor. There was this momentum that it killed him. There was also the hoodoo hanging behind him of not scoring in a European tournament. Henderson had the same thing until obviously against Ukraine, sorry. So, having that hoodoo over your head, coming on cold in a game to take a penalty, if you're going to bring him on for that last 15 minutes. Let him get into the game a little bit. Get some sort of traction in his legs instead of just sticking him on and expecting him to be as mobile as possible.
Yeah. I don't know what you Dan, sorry, I don't know what Dan or Reece thinks about this, but to me, it was almost as if Gareth had brought him on for lambs for the slaughter. You know, to bring them on, to put them on for penalties when they've not had anything or very little time to actually get a feel for the ball or anything like that. To me, you know, it should never have happened. They should have brought him on, you know, the half time of the extra time sort of thing, to at least give them a chance and a feeling towards the ball, and you know, give them that bit of confidence that they could sort of, if not create something, at least they could go into the penalty stage thinking, yeah, I feel good about myself. I've got the control of the ball and everything like that. Let's go get it. Not give him 2-3 minutes at the same time.
Do we not? And I've got to be honest with you here, Scott. I'm actually going to disagree with you, because I honestly think, do I have somebody, Rashford, who's a striker for Man United, and I don't know what his penalties taking's like at Man United. Reece will probably tell me in a second. But do I leave him on the bench, or do I maybe have Stones going up for a penalty, as a defender who's never taken a penalty in his life and is absolutely rubbish? You know, I mean, you're looking at penalties, and it is completely different to the match. And I, as a manager, don't think necessarily that, you know, bringing Rashford on maybe at that last stage might just disrupt the team a little bit, might just put them off, you know, mistakes being made, because where Kane would normally have been, let's say he wasn't, and so Rashford went through and scored. I have to say, I agree 100% on bringing. I mean, this is what they do in American football. You know, they have players who are at the back who are only brought on just to take kicks for them. You know, and I don't know, Reece, is he any good at Man United for penalties? But I certainly think Southgate, I'd do exactly what he did, because I wouldn't have wanted Phillips. Phillips couldn't have run up to the spot to take a kick.
Yeah, definitely. And then you look back, Rashford's had some very key moments when it comes to penalties. He did score his penalty in the Europa League final. He did convert. He also did convert in the crunch game against PSG a couple of years ago. He is known for the big moments. He's not a renowned penalty taker. He has missed a few. I won't fail to acknowledge that. Like, he has missed a few, but he's also scored a few as well. He does have a particularly decent record at United, but it's mostly if the main choice penalty takers aren't on the field. He's not known to be the first. He's not first or second choice. I think he's more third or fourth. Because I'm most likely to say our second choice penalty taker is probably going to be Paul Pogba if he plays. I think it's going to.
Let's be honest, though. Really, when you get into this sort of thing, you've got to look. You may well have had your best penalty taker on, and you substituted him at half time to try and get something out of the game. So you know, I just think if you've got those players sat on the bench, if you hadn't brought those players on, let's face it, he'd have got lambasted, wouldn't he, Maisey? You know, if you hadn't brought Rashford on, people would have been turning around this morning and going, well, he had Rashford on the bench, who's a strike. Oh, she doesn't want to answer the question. She's gone. Let me come to you, Dan. You would, wouldn't you? You'd say, like, well, why was Rashford left on the bench? He could have taken the penalty.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, going back to before the penalties were taken, I think we were trying to kill the game off before penalties. You could see the Italians towards the end of the game was almost like they didn't want to. They didn't. They let us give them that little bit of pressure in the last 8 minutes. And I think we tried to take them to the slaughter towards the end of that second half of extra time, hoping that we'd get something. As I say, you've got Sterling coming in at the near post, but then he was blowing out of his arse to get to it, you know, to the second ball. You know, it was just one of those that when it did get to penalties, we thought, right, we've given everything now. We've given everything now. And even when Gareth Southgate had us all huddled up, you know, it was a case of shut up and listen. But also you could see that there's lads out there that was like, you know, Trippier was off the bench saying, come on, you know, I know you're blowing, but come on, this is your final chance. All you're going to take is one run up. And to be fair, going back to what you said about Phillips probably couldn't have run up to it. Well, Rashford didn't even run up to it, really, did he? He walked up to it and then
No.
started Freddie Flintstoning. So
Fair dues.
it's a strange one. It is a strange one. But yeah, you would have been asking the questions. Why haven't you got strikers like DCL or Rashford on to take penalties? So
talking about asking questions, I mean, Kate is letting secrets out about your S&M lifestyle here. I mean,
we'll put it one way, mate. I'm from Burnley. It's not an M&S lifestyle, is it? Jesus.
I suppose that's why it's not the happy place for nothing, eh?
I don't even know what happened there. It just put me off.
I was asking you a question and you disappeared. I thought, well, that's just rude. How very rude,
Just pay the bill, Maisey. Pay the bill. Stop scrounging next door's internet.
She done a limiter. She slipped at the last minute.
Next door's internet is this rubbish here.
She was nipping to the toilet. Let's be honest. This was Maisey. She was nipping to the toilet.
It took a while because she shuffled. She shuffled across the landing.
She was having to wipe it off a quilt and a carpet, wasn't she?
Maisie Lineker, the time has come.
What was you asking me?
Well, I'm going to ask you. No, it's gone now. You've missed your moment. But I'm going to ask you this, Maisey. I mean, when you look at the penalties, and we're all sort of going like, oh, we were rubbish at penalties. I mean, it wasn't the best penalty shootout you're going to see from either side. I mean, we missed 3, they missed 2.
Yeah, both sides didn't do that well in terms of penalties. You'd expect even Italy to do a lot more better, considering they've got like Jorginho there, who is a regular penalty taker for Chelsea. Belotta, I would have even expected him to score it, to be honest. And obviously on our end, you would have obviously expected Rashford and Sancho to score. With Saka, I've not really watched him too much in terms of penalties. I don't think I've ever even seen him take a penalty, so he was a hit and miss for me. So you would have expected a bit more off the majority of the ones who's missed it, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm surprised at that. Are you, Reece, when you look at it, in the cold light today?
Out of those penalty takers, I only thought 2 were going to miss out of those 10 names, and the two that missed actually did, and that was Belotti and Rashford. And the reason I say that is because they both hit the exact same penalty. If you actually look at it, they both took about 30 seconds. They both waited too long. They both thought they could outthink Donnarumma and Pickford. And frankly, if you're hitting a penalty, don't take too long, because that's when the keeper gets stuck in your head, and then you're doubting yourself. If you've got an opportunity from 12 yards, I don't care if you knock the goalkeeper's teeth out.
No, raffle it. Put your foot through it.
Exactly. Just go for it. But out of the players that missed, obviously the Man United players, I would never want them to miss. But in the sense of it, they did. Well, Saka, I've never seen him hit a penalty in his life. So
it's a long walk, though, isn't it? Yeah. The thing that gets us as well is that we were almost at that point of knowing Jorginho stepping up. That's it. Game's over. And then
I looked away for this penalty. I looked away because of what happened in the semi-final, because he done the exact same thing. That stupid slip, but this time he thought he would do something different. He thought he would try 2 skips. This isn't hopscotch. This is professional football.
No. The thing is, the Jorginho, as I say, everyone thought as soon as Pickford saved that, that's it. We can go on here. We've got a chance. Sudden death. Yeah. Let's crack on. At that point, you've got Saka must have been in that lineup feeling elated, like I'm buzzing and everything else. But then as he's walking up to take that, it's like, oh shit, it's on me. Sort of like
he looked nervous.
Everything's going through his head. I'm 19 years old. What if I miss this? I'm going to have the crowd on my back. It takes your mind elsewhere. It's so tough.
It is a hard way to finish the game, Scott. But we've tried other things. We've tried the silver goal. We've tried the golden goal. There's no other ways. Maybe they need to get the players closer to the box in some way.
They should do what they do at the Copa America, in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think, but the Copa America, if you don't finish the game in 90 minutes and it's a score draw or 0-0 or whatever, just put them straight to penalties. Just put them straight. You don't need to give them an extra 30 minutes. Just you've had 90 minutes, you've failed to beat the opposition. Just go for it, get your penalties over and done with, because the extra 30 minutes, especially after the year we've just had, like the whole COVID situation and all that, give them an extra 30 minutes and a new season's coming.
Could you imagine if they did the old school MLS penalties from like the halfway line where they had to run with it?
that would be
Jesus.
genius. I wouldn't mind watching that just for like one nostalgic moment.
Thing is, though, again, we'd be too knackered to do that run, wouldn't we? Let's be honest. But let's just quickly go around the panel then. Scott, we're still going to be proud. I mean, yes, we lost. We haven't lost in, normal time. It was penalties that we were. Other than that, we've not lost a game and we've only conceded 2 goals. Overall, I mean, it's a 8 out of 10 tournament for me.
Yeah, definitely. I can't take anything away from the players, Gareth Southgate, or anything like that. At the end of the day, they have been phenomenal. They've done us proud. Unfortunately, we lost at penalties, but when you look at it and you look to the future, and you've got the World Cup that's around the corner next year. The possibilities are endless. I just hope, for me, Harry Kane does not make the squad, unless through the season he has another phenomenal season. But for me, he doesn't do it in an England shirt no more.
Scott, if he signs for Leicester next week, I'm sure he would say.
Let's put it this way: if he signs for Leicester next week, I'm sorry, but I will be that disappointed in Brendan Rodgers and the transfer policy and everything like that. Because for me, he does not rectify the £100 million price tag that he's put on his head. But there we go.
How long have you been a fan of Harry Kane then, Scott? Maisey, moving on to you. I mean, I gave it 8 out of 10 for England. What would you give it?
The absolute same, to be honest. 8 out of 10 for me. The only reason why I won't give a 9 because there was times where we've been a little bit sloppy, where we needed to tweak in terms of the passing. But overall, I would give it. You don't want to be sloppy, do you, Maisey? No.
I swear God, when that laugh goes, that's the end of it.
Overall, I'd give it a very strong 8 anyway.
Reece, no sloppiness from you, please. Maybe more. What would? And I know, and I'm going to. I should have come to you last, but go on as the Scotland German Italian fan.
That's all right. You can leave me till last. You can put Ed Sheeran before me. That's all right.
Oh, go on then. We'll jump to Ed then, and we'll come to the neutral at the end.
Yeah, we'll come to the Italian Elton John after Ed.
But at least I'm better looking.
Well,
I guess that's why they call it the blues.
With that. Yeah,
Scotland's
exactly.
theme song, eh?
Yeah, no, I'd say it's same as you, Chris. I think you can't look any further. You can't go any higher than an 8, really, with the way. But the points Maisey said. To be fair, we've had many a blunder every now and again. Sterling's short back pass that nearly let Muller in. Kane not performing, as Scott said. Kane out and all that jazz.
You know why he's not performing though? There's too many outside newspaper interference.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah,
I would deliberately be shooting blanks as well.
So, don't start on that. We're not going down that road.
Yeah.
We're not going down that road at all.
You're just giving ammo for Chris there, Reece.
Anyway, for him to wind up Spurs fans is enough.
But so as a neutral, then, and I say neutral, you say third time you got the team that beat us. But as a neutral, looking at England's overall, I mean, we're saying 8. I mean, let's not forget, it wasn't so long ago when we didn't get out of the group stage at the World Cup, when we could only get a draw with Costa Rica. I know you could say we only got a draw with Scotland this time, and it's pretty similar. But let's well, overall, Scott. Overall, Reece. What do you think is a neutral of England's performance?
Right.
Get comfy, guys. Go and get a brew. It could be a long one.
You know what?
I used to say to my wife.
I suppose you played the short straw then. You know what? In all fairness, I think he's did have a solid tournament. I think there were some players that definitely showed capability playing at an international level.
Yeah.
But there's still some doubts over where this team's actually going, because even though you got to lose in finals, this is probably the best you're going to get. I don't know if you're actually going to go any further, because I think he's played the game a bit too safe. There's no risk. If you want to succeed in international football, at times you have to take risks. I think this England team were extremely safe, and I don't think I know it's good to be cautious in certain games, but at times you have to take a risk if you want to succeed. And last night, I didn't see any of that to suggest these are going to win. You scored in the first 2 minutes, and I'll admit that was a brilliant start of play. I thought that was brilliant. But other than that, you took your foot off it. Italy were just happy to let you have the ball. Like for the first half, half Italy were like, we'll just let them have the ball. It doesn't bother us. Second half, as soon as they grew into the game, these were done for. That was it.
Yeah, because I said same though, Reece. I said that we needed to play like Spain. We needed to change it up every now and again. Pump that long ball forward. You know, It worked for Spain. Morata scored off a long ball.
Play England, who's to say their own game? That's what you should do.
Yeah, exactly.
What they do best.
Yeah,
that's the best way to beat the Italians. You stifle them with their own style that they're renowned for. So go for it. But there's been some solid performances in there. Some teams, some players in there, perhaps I don't know if you'll see at the next tournament. There's 2 players in that England team for me are absolutely garbage. I don't need to mention Harry Kane. He's already been mentioned. But the other 2 I'm going to say is Phil Foden and Mason Mount. They're both overhyped. They were both pathetic in games. They didn't do enough for me to capitalise it. Phil Foden, next time, if you want to play football, don't turn up like Elliot DeGeneres. Turn up like a footballer. Mason Mount, he did not live up to his potential from the Champions League final as well. He didn't keep that performances into the tournament. I think he was a bit lacklustre in games. But I think there's some solid performances. There's some players that definitely caught me off guard.
So what are you going to give us then out of 10 for the whole performance?
Overall?
Yeah.
I don't think I can go any lower than an 8, but if I want to be nice and say a 7.5, that's okay. But
I'll take that from a Scots fan. I will take that all day long.
I don't think throughout that game. I think throughout that game, you only had 2 shots. You only had 2 shots on target compared to Italy's 19 shots, 6 on target.
Yeah.
There was only one clear winner, in my opinion. And to be fair, the game, I seen a tweet yesterday that summed up. In fact, no, it was a tweet this morning I saw that summed up that game perfectly. England didn't lose the game on penalties. They lost the game in 90 minutes. And I actually think that's spot on.
Yeah. We should have
won
won
first half. If we'd have put 2 goals to him, Italy would have been...
Mancini's never conceded 2 as well, by the way, as Italy manager. He's never conceded more than a goal.
Yeah.
At 2-0, I think. Yeah, I think it's our trophy. But right, let's just quickly go around and we'll say our goodbyes and what have you. But I'm going to ask you as we go one question to take you out. So Scott, thanks for joining us again, mate. As always, amongst your connection problems. Give us your England player of the tournament before you go. And I know it's not going to be Kane. You know, I kind of have a feeling in my water about that. But
for me, I think it's got to be Calvin Phillips.
Right. He has. And again, would he have got a chance under another England manager? Because he's like, no disrespect, only playing for Leeds. You know, would Capello's and all of those have chosen. Stephen, good evening. Just joining us as we're about to go, but thanks for popping in. He wants to
a shit club, remember? That's why Phillips got in the team.
Say that again, sorry, mate.
Remember, Gareth Southgate played for a shit club as a pro. That's why Calvin Phillips is in the team. He appreciates shit clubs.
We love you, Middlesbrough, if you watch it, and Villa.
I don't.
Scott, thanks very much, mate. All the best, and we'll see you soon. Take care. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Cheers. Right, let's get rid of the Scots fan next.
That's all right. I'll be winding up a particular human being later on because I found a video that I sent the other day and they didn't like it, so I'm going to do the exact same later. So
hey, we give enough out to Scotland and Wales. Thankfully, the Scots fans can take it. Not sure about the Welsh fans.
I know.
As we say, Chris, there is there's a difference between success and failure. Adrian's wall.
You talk about this, but this wasn't a success for you either. Just remember that.
There's degrees of success, isn't there? I think
There's getting to a final and then there's not beating Scotland.
There's drawing every game. There's drawing every game in a tournament. I think you drew every game in a tournament once and still didn't qualify.
Yeah, we're proud of that. Yeah, we turn up. we turn up. We get pushed. We have good vibes.
That's the highlight of their international history there, Dan. Like I say, we couldn't get past Costa Rica, so we kind of put it in the same basket.
To be fair, you can never fault a Scotland fan or Scotland fans in a stadium because there's always a good atmosphere.
They are indeed scary, I accept, but no, they do a great atmosphere. Great atmosphere.
We're not that scary.
I wouldn't go to a bloody Celtic Rangers derby. Anyway, quickly, Reece, give us your man of the tournament or English player of the tournament, I should say. Sorry.
I think when I last spoke to you, I believe I said Calvin Phillips. Just for the way he's played in that midfield, I think he's been absolutely outstanding.
Yeah.
But I can't choose between one. I'm going to have to split it down 50-50. I'm going to have to say Luke Shaw and Calvin Phillips. I thought they were both fantastic. But I will say this, though. Calvin Phillips, the whole tournament's been better than Declan Rice. But last night, Declan Rice was by far your best player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take that coming from Scots. And Reece, thank you very much. Good luck with your presenting. Shout out for your Twitch because I know you've not got a YouTube channel. So give us a Twitch.
I technically do. I just don't use my YouTube channel, but I really should. But I'm actually going to be streaming in about 15 minutes. But my Twitch channel is Reece_Lightning1997. And in terms of YouTube, you can find me on the World of Football podcast, which is on the Dugout Football channel, who was in here earlier on tonight. Big up, Doug. And you can also find me on the weekly Armchair Sports Talk, where I will be hosting a few pods myself. First one, I think, is Thursday, so fucking bring it on.
Oh, we're going to come on there and give you some grief.
Hey, Reece, can I just ask you one? I just got one bit of advice for your Twitch. You should have that as your little tagline underneath your name.
What?
Like streaming and steaming.
I like that, actually.
Good luck tonight, Reece. I'll let you go if you want in 15 minutes. All the best. Thanks for coming on.
Reece.
See you later, folks.
Cheers. Bye-bye. And we still got further than them, didn't we, Maisey?
Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, exactly.
Has Maisey gone?
No, she's there, I think.
I'm still here.
You're still here. You've just gone very, very, very quiet. So, Maisey...
no, I'm still here.
You still... Sorry, I'm not saying anything now. I'm going to get myself into trouble. Maisey, your England player of the tournament?
Jordan Pickford for me.
Really?
Pickford, when you look at him and for Everton, he's honestly so terrible, but he's honestly really shown out as a player, and he's really shown why he should be number one goalkeeper for England. Out of 7 games, 5 clean sheets. It's absolutely incredible. Honestly, I was even sceptical about Jordan Pickford, thinking, right, Dean Henderson should be there. Even Sam Stone, he should be the number one goalkeeper over Pickford, and he proved me wrong. They says what he done, apart from obviously that goal what we conceded. He made some amazing saves.
Yeah.
He made some amazing saves all of the tournament, and he should be really proud of himself.
Sometimes players can play better for the country than they do for the clubs, can't they? It's weird, but it just, and of course he's got different. Yeah, yeah. I wasn't going to say that, but he's also got different players in front of him. Maisey, thanks so much for coming on today. As always, it's a pleasure to have you on. Give a shout out to your Twitter, get people following you.
It is at 2_ MUFC Maze.
I will put these in the description afterwards, but remember 2_ because it only looks like one. It took me ages, didn't it? But Maisey, we don't really need to know how to follow you. We just
because you don't understand technology.
Yeah. I was going to say we just follow the smell, you know. She takes the stick. Well done, Maisey. No, seriously, thanks for coming on as always, Maisey.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Take care.
Cheers, Maisey.
Cheers, Maisey. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Cheers for that, Scott. Yeah, please subscribe. Yeah, 2_ Reece. That does make me laugh. And we are left with Lady Gaga. So Ed, do give us a shout out for your channel, of which I'm on Wednesday, 6:00.
Yeah, so we're all
having
going
the
to
same
be doing
conversation.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a match review on Wednesday. I think I'm just going to look into it a bit more. I may even watch the game back. I don't know why I'm going to put myself through it, but I may do. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, I've had enough drama in my life watching Burnley, so it can't be bad watching a final defeat, can it?
We got to the final, though. This is
exactly.
Exactly. I know Reece was saying there, well, we didn't win anything. No, we didn't. But I tell you what, France would have swapped places with us. Denmark would have swapped places. Spain would have swapped places. Germany would have swapped places. So I'm sorry, you know.
Brad's in the comments like, don't forget North Macedonia.
I'm trying to. He's on holiday, thankfully. He's on holiday, so we can't bring him in. But yeah, we got to the final. Let's just rejoice in that, and I know Gareth said he felt like his stomach had been ripped out, but you know, we've got to be proud of the lads. Let's kick all this hatred out of football, and let's be proud of what we've done. Like I say, the last 3 tournaments, 4th, 3rd, and 2nd. That ain't bad going.
Not at all. Not at all. We just need to grow with momentum, grow into that. Even taking another final again. As I said, unfortunately, I predicted it. I predicted it before the tournament. As I said that we get to the final and lose. So you can blame me if you want.
Oh, we will. Don't worry.
But yeah, I couldn't see it. I always thought we'd go one better than the semis. But I just thought that we'd sort of falter at the final hurdle, and I think it was one of those where we sort of played the occasion and not the game.
Yeah, indeed. Thanks for that, Reece. Thanks for coming on. Dan, I'm trying to say that. Like, what do I call you? Gaga, Ed, goes for all these names. Josh. Dan, give a shout out to your channel, sir.
So yeah, we are at Turfmoor House, which it follows on from my last name. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and a couple of other podcast channels. I do need to actually start getting more involved with them, because ones that I have recorded, I haven't took off and uploaded them yet. So I will get around to that. If anybody does fancy a listen, please head over there, show us some love, like and subscribe. It means a lot. So thank you very much.
And I think maybe next time we should have you and Kate on at the same time. She could be the Alex Scott of your channel, or maybe the Ruth and Eamon. You could be the new Ruth and Eamon.
Oh, that'd be something. That'd be something.
Thanks for joining us, Kate, and thanks. Say Ed. There, I'm going to stop this.
Say it, Chris.
It's been a long one. Thanks very much, Dan. I will see you on Wednesday on your channel. Tune in, Turfmoor House TV, Wednesday 6:00. You get to see more of me and Dan bantering and putting the world to right, and the football world as well. Thanks very much for coming on, mate.
No worries. Just one thing to say, Chris. Harry Maguire would have been my player of the tournament.
I apologise, sir. I apologise very much. And to be fair, it was a good shout, that. I
just wanted to be different to everybody else, but I think that there is a shout for everybody in that England squad to get to a final. Yes. I think a lot of people would have gone for. I thought somebody would have mentioned Sterling. But yeah, I'm going to go for Maguire just because I thought you may go for Sterling.
Well, to be totally honest with you, I would have done. And although last night wasn't his best, but no, overall, I probably would have gone for Sterling. But like you say, yeah, there's a lot there that we could have picked on. Mate, thanks very much.
No, thanks very much.
See you on Wednesday, and then I'll see you on Monday when you'll be back on here doing the old quiz.
I will. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Do you remember? Yes, you've got 10 questions on Burnley. You got 5 on the Premier League, and you got 5 on Leicester City. What do you know about Leicester?
Cheese, Gary Lineker, Walker's Crisps, stadiums at middle at centre. Apart from that,
I got to give you got 3 points there. That's it, mate. See you on Wednesday. Thanks very much. All the best. See you later, pal. Cheers. Take care.
Cheers for having me on. Bye.
Cheers for this. Thanks to Dan for coming on there. Always a laugh. Always a pleasure to have him on. Like I say, Turf Moorhouse TV Wednesday 6 o'clock. You'll get me back on there, and of course he'll have the Ruth to his Eamon. He'll have Kate on as well, which is always a pleasure to see. She always has my sympathy. And as Scott said here as well, one that he forgot, of course, pork pie, Melton Mowbray pork pies. How can you forget that, eh? I don't know what. Anyway, and then you got Everard's beer. Oh, it's all coming back to me now. Moorhouse beer, Northern rubbish. Everard's, it's good stuff. Makes the best shandies. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Hey, talking of the quiz, this will be something we're going to be starting on Thursday and running through. Have a look at this.
It's the Big Fat Football Quiz with Leicester Till I Die TV.
So you think you know your football?
Well, let's see.
Yes, indeed. Starting on Thursday with a Leicester fan, he's going to start set the bar, hopefully very, very high, and he will be answering the questions on obviously Leicester, and then there'll be a few on. Obviously, there'll be the Premier League questions, and there'll be away questions for him as well. And then we've got Dan very kindly coming on the Monday doing Burnley. We've got a Spurs fan. That'll be different. We'll make sure we give him really good hard ones. And we've got Man United and Liverpool. It's going to be interesting. Thanks for joining us, guys. Back tomorrow, 5 o'clock, with this guy.
Hi, Alan Smith here. Be sure to watch and listen to Chris on Leicester Till I Die TV. You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels. Up the Foxes!
Indeed. And the last time, it's the end of the Euros. We'll see you tomorrow, 5 o'clock for Alan Smith. And then we'll see you at 7 o'clock when we pick the 5 best Leicester City goalkeepers of all time. Yours going to be in there. You've got to tune in and see. Bye, guys.
It's the Euros 2020 with Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV.
Hello, Matt Elliott here. Be sure to watch Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and follow all them social media platforms for all the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
To an end. But the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback, head over right now to Twitter and Facebook and like, share, and get involved. Join us next time.